Dating gets more difficult after 30. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. It doesn't mean that you're not going to succeed, but dating gets significantly more difficult, especially for women. And so I'm going to talk about that particular aspect. A lot of women ask me, why is dating so hard in your 30s? I hate this market. Why are there no good men?
He's no good.
So this is not meant to discourage any women out there on dating or the idea of finding their dream partner. There's still amazing people out there, and I'm going to circle back to that at the end of this video. But more than anything, number one, a lot of the good guys are taken. A lot of the good guys are with those younger girls. They're talking to the girls that are in their early 20s. They're talking to the girls that are not necessarily out and about here throwing away their 20s. I know that's a whole perception. I'm going to get to that as well. But a lot of those guys are already married. They're already taken, and the guys that you have to deal with are the leftover guys. So the men that are available in the dating market are not necessarily your first choice. And so it becomes you guys fighting over what's left, and what's left is not necessarily even the best. So dating after your 30s, as a woman, you're going for guys in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s. There's a percentage of men that are single, and they're single for a fucking reason. There's a percentage of men that were happily married, and now they're divorced, and they may never get married again. They have trauma, baggage, all these things. And there's a percentage of men out there that are just gems, but whoever gets them, and they're tucked away, and they're hard to get to. So you're dealing with the leftovers.
Leftovers.
Number two, you're not everyone's top tier preference. Dating gets harder after 30 because you're typically just not as physically attractive by society's beauty standards. So as you get older, there are going to be less men that are naturally attracted to you because you don't fit a certain standard of being young and beautiful.
You're so young and beautiful.
If you look at all the data amongst dating apps and you look at the most desired age, it's going to be 20 to 23. That's the bracket that men prefer the most. And I'm talking all sorts of men, 50-year-old men, 20-year-old men, all the above. I know it sounds weird, but it's truth. When you look at the anonymous data on dating apps, they look at what people select for. And men, the way they select is a range. The 40-year-old man might pick 20 to 40. The 25-year-old guy might pick 18 to 25. But it's a range that they select for. Not necessarily around them, but typically from the youngest to just about their age. They don't want a woman that's really older than them a lot of times, but they want a woman that can be as young as possible, and they're just going to see what's out there for them. And typically men want younger. They want younger women. And so when you're not necessarily getting as much attention, because you've aged, you have wrinkles, you have this, that, and the third now, men are very reluctant. Reason number three is that men often have a stigma towards women that are in their 30s as to where did your 20s go? What did you do in your 20s to where no men are really marrying you or dating you? And there's definitely situations where I know women that have been in 8-year, 7-year relationships where they got done very dirty. I know women that have generally put their best foot forward on dating and relationships, and they just have not had a lot of luck. And I know women that are very, very keen on their career, and they're focused on those kinds of things, and they just don't want to step in the dating market until much later. There's all sorts of reasons, and they may be very legitimate, but some men and most men think that, oh, you're 31 and single, there's a fucking problem.
There's a problem.
There's a problem.
Well, actually, Myron said this. Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit. Shout out Myron, said this at one of his podcasts. If there's a woman that's 30 and single, there's a problem with her. And there are a lot of times a situation where a woman will unfortunately go out, party, use her 20s, use her youth, and then she turns 29, 28, and she gets very serious on dating. She starts to understand, like, yo, I don't have a lot of time, and the lifestyle I'm living is potentially going to expire. So I got to find somebody that's going to take care of me and be good to me. And then that's when those girls marry nice guys, and it becomes a whole situation where you laugh at the guy in a sense, because that girl's been with XYZ, done ABC, and now she's settling with a guy that's not in her league on a paper level, but eventually she's going to grow into it. A lot of women in their 30s are not necessarily getting the attention that they should be getting, even if they look a certain type of way, because men still perceive like, okay, you're 33, you look good, I'll definitely hook up with you, but I ain't taking you seriously because you spent your entire 20s doing X, Y, and Z with ABC, and it may not really even be the case. Next reason is a lot of women increase their standards as they get older. As a woman gets more mature, her standards of what she wants and what she craves goes up. She's not okay with the same things anymore. An 18-year-old girl is okay with a blunt and Ciroc bottle in a park, and she'll be like, oh my God, you're amazing.
You're amazing.
A 21-year-old wants you to take her to some kind of dinner or some kind of movie. A 25-year-old is like, where are the reservations? Are you working a job right now? Like, I don't have time to waste. And a 30-year-old for sure is like, okay, what's your mortgage? Do you make money? Blah, blah, blah. And sometimes those standards intensify so much to where there's a small bracket of men and those women are not getting access, and they're so frustrated in dating because you're not looking at everybody out there that's willing to accept you for the situation that you're in. So if you're 30 years old and you're not successful and not employed and not focusing on this as a man, you're going to be pinged no matter what. But as a woman, people don't really see it as you spent a lot of your time doing X, Y, and Z. Nobody really pings you for that. But if you're a man, it's like, where were your 20s? What did you do? Did you not grind? The next reason I'll say is because people have a lot of trauma. And people don't let go of their trauma. And people are in the situation they're in because they have that trauma. And they have this belief that the dating market is not going to work out for them. Like, no one's going to be serious. No one's going to take it like very, very intentionally, and that's the problem in itself. That belief creates the reality. And so this very guarded nature of who you are is what's going to prevent you from finding your dream partner. So let's list off the areas again. Number one is most of the good guys are taken. Number two, most women don't understand their penetration in the dating market. It goes down. Number three, your standards go up. Your patience, your tolerance, it goes in effect down. And so the men that are going to fill that bracket are just fewer and smaller because the sample size has decreased. And last but not least, your beliefs in the dating market are negative. And if you have a negative emotion with negative thoughts, you're going to have negative actions and negative results. So be positive, put yourself out there, keep looking for help. If you guys ever need help, feel free to connect with me. I'd love to assist you.